I'm being joined on the program via Zoom from London, the former spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Daniel Bwala. Mr. Daniel Bwala, thank you, as always, for coming through on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
The truth is that when I was there are questions I wanted to ask, but too many things are happening. So I will pick it from where the things are happening. We did read earlier that the Ondo State PDP chairman was suspended by its members, the executive committee, and they are blaming or they're alleging of anti-party activity and other things he did in the party. Well, we're going to have them hopefully tomorrow on the program. But the NWC of the party has released a statement. I'll just read part of the statement. The attention of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has been drawn to the purported suspension of the chairman of the Ondo State chapter of our party, Mr. Fatai Adams. The NWC declares the said suspension as null and void and of no effect, not being consistent with provisions of the Constitution as amended and laid down rules. For emphasis, no state working committee has the power whatsoever to contemplate or suspend a state chairman without due recourse to the National Working Committee as provided by the Constitution. The PDP is an organized political party governed by strict adherence to the provisions of its Constitution and rules and will not allow any individual or group at any level to violate its Constitution. Mr. Bwala, before we dig deep into maybe other issues, well, I don't know whether you want to react to this. It's just a quick back and forth.
No, the only thing I can say is probably the actions of the State Working Committee is a reminder to the National Working Committee that the party should be alive to its responsibility, should know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Now, so the propriety of whether the decision is right or wrong is what we will get to know as the facts unfold. But I think that what they did is just suggesting to the National Working Committee that a political party should be functional, should be working. Because at the national level, we have seen so many irregularities that the National Working Committee has failed to address. So if there's anything to take out from, maybe just to tell them, come back to life.
So let's take it from where you just mentioned. The irregularities are some of the things you've noticed in the National Working Committee, because I have a direct question on that basis, but I'm going to hold back since you've mentioned it, since it came out of your mouth. Let me take it from you. What are the irregularities and some of the things you're seeing at the national level that makes you feel like, what is going on with our party?
Well, right before the election and up till today, we have seen activities of key leaders of the party, which ordinarily you would term it as anti-party or you would term it as misconduct against the ethics and etiquette of the party, for which the National Working Committee has not done anything. The chairman of the Governors Forum went to Villa and they showered the encomium of the president, which is not a problem, but some of the things he said at that place could be deemed as anti-party, and nothing happened. Of course, we know the locus classicus, which is Governor Wike and his friends and his associates. They have done more than you can do, and nothing has happened. No official statement has been made to either call him to order, to probably institute disciplinary procedure. And then the National Working Committee too has been quiet and sleeping and not playing the role of active opposition party. You have seen, unless once in a while on Christmas Day, when the president gives a speech, they will issue a statement against him. When on New Year Day he issues a speech, they will issue. But between Christmas and New Year and the remainder of the days, there are policy issues by the governing party for which the opposition ought to interrogate. And what I mean interrogate is not just to say that Tinubu's speech is empty. Give facts to support that, right? If it's an economic policy that he has dished out for which you disagree with, differentiate that policy with the policy that PDP stands on, right? If it is the budget, you're criticizing the budget, tell Nigerian people what PDP would have done differently, or where you disagree, not just make a blanket statement. The National Publicity Secretary of the party should not be like a rabbit that comes out of the hole once in a while. He should be up in the media, engaging and interrogating. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's the reason why Peter Obi had the temerity to say that the Labour Party is going to be the opposition party this year.
I wanted to come to that. What will be your reaction? Because it's like you're taking my questions ahead of before I would say it. When he mentioned that, I understand he mentioned that, look, the the Labour Party is going to be the lead opposition. Why do you think he had to say that? Is it because of the posturing of the PDP as is that? Because when we talk about lead minority, lead opposition, it should be by number, but perhaps he's not seeing the number. Does it give credence to the people who feel the same way that, look, the lead minority party or the opposition party, quote unquote, is inactive, so it gives credence to his posture?
Yes, he has every reason to say what he's saying, right? At the time, we can interrogate whether Labour Party at this stage is actually a political party or not. I mean, in the real sense of what a political party should do. But the reason he's saying what he's saying is because PDP is sleeping as a political party. But PDP members in their individual capacities have been engaging, interrogating government, playing the role of opposition as individual members of the party. But as a party, PDP has been quiet. And the reason is not far-fetched, because some of the leaders who are misbehaving appear to have certain degree of control on infrastructure of the party. So that's why you find it difficult. I feel ashamed sometimes when I come in on media and journalists continue to say, what is it about A, B, and C in your party that your party can't do something? And you don't have answer, because you are an ordinary member. Whatever I say, I'm an ordinary member. I'm not a leader. I'm not in the National Working Committee. But as a private citizen, when we say we are going to call out things, it can't be just calling out the governing party. You call out your own party if they are doing the wrong thing. And that is why this 2024, PDP had better make up his mind to be an opposition party, or Labour Party now will be the opposition party. And the reason why Peter Obi is saying that is because if you have seen the last few weeks, he is singularly has been the person who has been interrogated on issues now. But at a better time, we'll talk whether Labour Party as a party can challenge. You can talk as an opposition, but do you have the infrastructure of opposition? That is what Peter Obi lacks. He doesn't have the patience to grow a party. He will never sit down and grow a party. That's the truth.
Why do you think so? Let's quickly start that interrogation, because the members of the party are listening and like, if they are wondering, what is Mr. Bwala saying? Okay, maybe you're speaking in tongues. Maybe you can be explicit.
Okay, let me speak in the language of men. Let me speak in the language of men, if that was tongue. You see, Labour Party consists of a movement of people who were aggrieved with the status quo. That has to be agreed. And funny enough, it's not just Labour Party. You find these youngsters in all political parties. Peter Obi came into the fore. There is even a bigger picture. We'll talk about it another time. But in the course of interrogating that, you could see immediately after election, he was not engaging with leaders of the party in various states. So it's all about him and what it takes to build a political party in the nature of Labour Party will mean that Peter Obi has to be involved in the activities of Labour Party as a political party, not just him as a candidate. He has to know what is happening in the states where you have the Labour Party. They have to come out with a blueprint on how to develop a grassroots political party. Being angry on social media is not enough opposition. Being angry on Twitter is not opposition. I told you during the campaign, we commissioned data analysts. They did a polling and came up with a finding that 53.7% of those who engage for him on social media don't live in Nigeria. So don't confuse presence in the social media to demonstrate the strength of a political party. A political party is built by structures at the local level, to the state level, to the national level. Does Peter Obi know the national chairman of Labour Party all across Nigeria? Does he know the candidates running for positions across the country?
Well, you'll be in a better position to answer, because when you made a particular statement, I almost wanted to remind you of the fact that when the movement started, we heard some people say there were just two people in a room punching the laptop, but the numbers was quite surprising to everybody, 6.1 in the last election. Well,
let me tell you what happened.
Yes.
Permit me to tell you what happened.
Tell us.
Peter Obi did not secure those votes because of Peter Obi. What happened was that they rile up emotions. They build it around two things. One, marginalization of a section of Nigerians, and two, they build into the sentiments of the religious leaders. What Peter Obi himself did not know, and this is what we have found out after the election, that in fact, even some of the religious leaders that were supporting Peter Obi, I'm talking of Christian religious leaders, supporting Peter Obi at the time, we are actually helping to reduce the number that Atiku could have gotten to emerge as a candidate. Why did I say that? immediately after the election, these same leaders that were quite vociferous during Buhari, attacking policy issues, immediately after this election, have you heard them for one day speaking against the removal of spoil subsidy, speaking against the floating of the naira? Even some of them in civil rights and the police, they even say Peter Obi is a graduate. But at the beginning, they claim to be working for him. So they used him to stop Atiku, but not because they believe in him.
So before we move on to Peter, because young people will listen and say, I don't know what Bwala is saying, because some of us young people mobilize to support him. So I don't know what Bwala is saying concerning religious leaders and all of that and the sentiment. So young people say we were just dissatisfied with the government of the day. We just wanted them out, and we felt that this is somebody we can rally around. For those who hold that view, how would you respond?
I quite respect their view, and it is a fact. These young people who are not happy with the status quo, you find them even in other political parties. You find them in PDP. It's a youth. Youth is not limited to one political. Even in APC, there are young people who were dissatisfied with what was happening. So you can find them in different places. For the Labour Party, I quite appreciate and respect the fact that the young people in Nigeria wanted to push a movement and make a change for themselves. So it is not like it is one sect of people that constitute the movement for Peter Obi. There is the religious element, which is majority. Then there is the young people element, which is there. And then there is the element of those who carry that feeling at the time that power must go to the south. And wherever it will go, but it mustn't come to the north. So a lot of these factors contributed. But how you would tell, like I said, and I wish Peter Obi well, whether Labour Party will stay alive and active till 2027 is going to be dependent on Peter Obi, right? How he is patient enough to build that political party. He must know the National Working Committee in various states. He must know candidates of the party. He must be involved in building the structure of the party. The church cannot be his structure. That's the point I'm saying. The church is not a structure of a political party.
Okay, let's come back to your party, the PDP. The elections are over, at least the presidential election. The Supreme Court has decided in favor of the president's mandate. So we have President Bwala Tinubu who will be there till 2027. But are you seeing anything that suggests that the PDP will eventually, permit my word, put its act together to be able to form a strong force against the APC? With what you're saying, it appears that I don't know, is it a Cold War or inability? You've mentioned some of these things. So do you see any drastic change that will happen between now and 2027 within the PDP, given what you're noticing now, which you yourself, you're very uncomfortable with?
The truth of the matter is that there will be a coalition of political parties that will be very strong. This is a fact that I know, and I don't want to talk about the details. A strong coalition. The coalition that is coming will swallow some of the elements that are creating the problem in the various political parties. You see, if you want to remove Tinubu from power, it will never happen by you going 9 to 5 type of job. You must work 23 hours and 50 minutes, meaning that you have only 10 minutes to sleep. And the 10 minutes you have to sleep is when Tinubu himself is sleeping. Look at what he's doing as a strategic action. You see, if you look at his antecedent in Lagos, his method of leadership is that once he takes over government, he makes sure that the opposition are either obliterated or they are weakened. Look at what is happening. NNPP, some elements came out, they say they are suspending the presidential candidate of NNPP. In Labour, you see one Apapa group, they will never allow somebody to rest. Then in PDP, you see some elements. So he will want to ensure that all these opposition parties continue to have problems. But you see, once there is a coalition of the parties, some of these little people that are giving the headache in the political parties would have been swallowed. For example, let's talk about Wike. Because once you solve the Wike question in PDP, you find solution to all of the problem. Now, Wike will come to a point where even in APC, they will become dissatisfied with him. They will have to ask him to either choose to be a rat or to be there is this animal that is neither a rat nor a bird. They will ask him to choose one because he cannot approbate and reprobate. Then secondly, when the political party PDP organizes the next Congress where you have the new leaders in the National Working Committee, it will be a paradigm shift. So these things are possibility, and that but without any coalition of political party, Tinubu is going to spend the next 8 years. That one is for sure.
That's a very strong statement you made. Now, let's look at other issues. Going back to the Rivers issues, I always bring into that conversation time and again as much as I can. And I have always, I don't know what I've asked you, but permit me to ask you just again, just in case I did and I forgot I asked you. The man is, the governor in question is the deputy chairman of the Governors Forum, but we appear to see that the chairman of the Governors Forum and all the governors in PDP appear to be either evasive to do anything or just aloof. What exactly do you make of that scenario?
The majority of them who have allegiance with Wike don't want to hurt Wike. That's why they are quiet. But there are other governors who are more matured and they are focused on what they are doing and they don't want to be entangled in the drama. And do not mistake the quietness of some leaders of the party to mean foolishness. You understand? But Atiku Abubakar has to provide the leadership. The state of the party at the moment will mean that he has to come in and provide leadership for the party. As for the Rivers, you only need to pray for that governor. The governor does not know what is even happening. But and only time will tell what is really behind what he is doing that you are not clear. But if he says that is the path he has chosen, you can only wish him well. You cannot govern the state. He is the governor of the state. He said, I want to violate constitution. I want to restore the speaker that was duly removed because he defected. I want to represent the budget. I want to break the law. He said he wants to do it. One is a free moral agent. You have to allow him to do that. But what I can tell you today, I can tell you today is that the governor of Rivers State has fallen into the trap that they want. It's just a matter of time. They will remove him as a governor.
Wow. Okay, you're dropping some hit lines. I don't know what to make of it, but let me ask you just one question in 10 seconds. Do you see the former vice president Atiku Abubakar running again for president?
Sure, he will run. Sure, he will run. He has the capacity, he has the wisdom, he has the knowledge, he has the energy and the zest, and he is a president we never had. Because to be honest with you, if there is any politician who understands the private sector very well, it is Atiku Abubakar. And this our economy can only come alive if there is a private sector-led economy. All
right. Mr. Daniel Bwala, always a delight having you on the program to give your insight on issues around Nigerian politics and its governance. He joined us via Zoom from the United Kingdom. He's the former spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. He holds a lot of titles, but let's leave it at that. Mr. Daniel, thank you for coming on the program as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.